I think to myself, last year in Seattle when we had our Pride celebration, I didn't want to go out. I was really scared. I was really worried that something would happen to one of my friends. I was really worried because there was a shooter in Neighbors last year, the Neighbors nightclub, and that was the first queer nightclub I ever went to growing up. And to imagine this being Neighbors, or this being our place, or this being any of the places that I grew up, or that I grew up in my adult life, spending time being open with myself, having my friends become open with me about who they were, and feeling pride and confidence. It takes us back. It takes us back to see things like this happen, but it also in some ways takes us much more further. Being here at Pulse has been really, really heavy, really healing, because you can see just all of the love that the people who were victims to this tragedy, you can see all of the love that they're having from the community, and also the greater queer and trans community. I can't even fathom how much love and creativity and community that they had and they created, and how much that's lost now because they're gone. And what's really interesting to me is that the communities throughout the country, when you talk about media and you talk about what happened here and how the story was told, there were 10 Black, queer, and trans people here who were killed out of the 49 people, and they aren't all talked about. There was, I believe I heard there was also a parent that was here in support of their child. It shows just how much of a loss of love there's been, and also how much creation of love there's been in response to that. And for me, I think about the fact that Seattle, for me, Seattle has such a large queer and trans community, and it's so much, there's so much visibility. And for me, that's what Pride in a way is, and how it's used to commodify, and the flag, the rainbow flag, used to be capitalized even after this happens. It always concerns me, and it's really important to reinstate for people of color what Pride means to us. Means that we can exist, not just capitalize off of it or make it a holiday and make it something more like fun and easygoing, when it's also something that's devoutly about us just existing and us just being present without being able to have to experience this type of violence and this type of heteropatriarchy. And there's a lot of people who don't understand that within the Caribbean and within the Black communities, it's very difficult to be openly queer or openly trans. And so the fact that for religious purposes, cultural purposes, you're already a person of color, you're already not falling within the heteronormatives, but you also are somebody who's also within a heteropatriarchal society in addition to that. And for me personally, my family, they don't want me to have to go through being femme, being a woman, being a person of color, being queer. It's so much, and it almost feels as though all of the odds are supposed to be against you. And the rejection of family, the rejection of people in your close life and your nuclear family sometimes is out of them almost concerned about your life and detaching themselves from the grief that they feel like they might experience. Things like this. And it saddens me that moments like this are the reasons why parents won't support their children, is because of the violence that they'll experience. And so it's just powerful to me to just see so many people present and being there and holding space, and how many people didn't know them but found themselves in all of these people. Being a part of Women of Color Speak Out, this is a perfect example of how so many of these forms of oppression affect us, like capitalism, how people are capitalizing off of this work, and also how people don't understand these intersectionalities, the intersectionalities of race and gender and identity and sexuality, and how within our communities these have always existed, and it's always been a part of our culture to have gender fluidity, to have pride in being queer and not falling within heteronormative culture. And so Catholicism and a lot of other religions have deeply conditioned us to hate ourselves and to punish ourselves in feeling guilty with who we are. And so for me, it's important to educate people, especially the white queer community, the white LGBTQ community, that this is not just an LGBTQ issue. This is a racial issue. This is an immigrant issue. This is an anti-Blackness issue. This has so many other layers besides what people are using it in the mainstream to symbolize. And I think that it's really important to have those further discussions to really reflect on who those people were, and not just what they symbolize, but also who they were and what effects each individual person had on this community. And from speaking to people who were just even at the mural, people who might have not known them personally but grew up here, they were saying how each one of those people has a connection to somebody within 2 degrees. It's not even some isolated incident of just somebody in the community that you didn't know, that you weren't around. Almost every single person in this area has a 2nd degree relationship with one of these people.